9 News Plus weather sponsored by Carrier Colorado. The future of home comfort is here.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us here on this beautiful Wednesday, March the 15th, here on 9 News Plus for a detailed look at your Colorado weather forecast. I'm 9 News meteorologist Chris Bianchi with a detailed look again at that forecast, which today is delightful. It is wonderful. I was just outside. I want to be back outside. I'm sure all of you want to be outside right now, but come tomorrow, you will not want to be outside. Huge temperature drop. Some slushy snow in store for the Denver area. Into the mountains, we've got some pretty heavy snow on its way for this afternoon and this evening. So let's get into those details. High impact weather forecast for us, especially in the mountains. But right now here in Denver, oh, it is magnificent. Already our warmest day so far this year, our warmest day since early December. We're at 64 right now here in Denver. We are rocketing towards 70 degrees. We'll probably get there within the next hour or two. First 70 plus of the year, very likely for today. Meantime, you can start to see the clouds building the way on up for us into the high country. This is the Eisenhower Johnson tunnels there, of course. You can in fact see a little bit of light snow on the screen here in Loveland, and this is out ahead of our next storm system. This will be a fairly high impact storm system for us into the high country for this afternoon and this evening. So those overall headlines for us here in Denver, first 70 plus of the year, as I mentioned, but that warmth, that delightful weather, oh, it is so wonderful. It is not going to last. And mountains, that snow arrives in the next couple of hours for us. And I think, again, this afternoon, this evening looks pretty dicey into the high country. Temperatures, we are warm statewide. Even our typical cold spots, Gunnison there at the floor of the Gunnison River Valley, 29, not too bad. But for us here in Denver, as I mentioned, already 64. Yesterday was our warmest day so far this year at 63, so we're already at our warmest day of 2023 to date. And we've got temperatures that'll continue to climb on up as we head over the next little while. Again, 70 seems like a pretty realistic bet for us here into the Denver area. A lot of 40s for us here in the high country as well. So for today, we'll get up to about 70 for us here in Denver. Would not be surprised we get up to 71, 72, something like that if we keep those temperatures on up. It will depend on that cloud cover because right now we're mostly sunny across most of the metro area. If we keep that sunshine for the next 2 to 3 hours, we're probably getting above 70. But if we cloud up in the next hour or so, then we'd probably stay right around 70, maybe a little bit below. So still a little dicey in that forecast depending on that cloud cover. But two things. One, we'll be somewhere around 70 for this afternoon, as I mentioned. Number two is that cloud cover will thicken on up this afternoon at some point. Exactly when it does so will determine how warm we get. But into the high country, this is the uh-oh part of the forecast. This is where we look on up into the high country and we can see that more troubled weather that is looming for us with widespread 6 to 12 inches plus for us here into the higher terrain. It looks like the San Juans, the Saguache, as well as the West Elk Mountains will see the most snowfall from the system. This could be another Crested Butte special where we could get some pretty solid snow. This upcoming storm up into places like Crested Butte, Purgatory, Wolf Creek. This looks to be, again, one of those specials for the southern and western mountains out this way. AC Doppler radar is mostly quiet right now for us here in Colorado, but you notice along the west of the Continental Divide, things are clouding on up, and it's thanks to this rain and snow pushing its way on in from the west. Phoenix getting a lot of rain, Flagstaff, LA yesterday getting pounded with tons of rainfall. And all that wet and snowy weather is pushing its way into our direction. And it'll reach us here in the next few hours. Again, if you need to head up through the high country, now is the time, because come this afternoon, we will see some pretty heavy snow pivot its way through the high country, and that will mean some snow that will be heavy at times for us. Really across the mountains. The further east you go, the later it will be, but this is a fast-moving system, and this is, by the way, tied into the atmospheric river events you may have heard in California. This is the kind of remnants of all that active weather that California has seen over the last few days. That same system is impacting us here in the high country. Again, we're getting getting a little bit of a split piece of it, so it's we're not getting the full brunt of it, so to speak, but we are getting a decent slice of all that energy here in Colorado from all that active weather out in California. Meantime, what will happen, it continues to snow for tonight in the high country along and north of I-70, but worth noting, once we get through the overnight time period, the snow will slow down a little bit for us here into the higher terrain. I think this afternoon between about kind of 2 and 8 p.m. or so, that looks to me to be the worst of it for us into the high country. So the Eisenhower Tunnel, Loveland Pass, and then on south through Monarch Pass. Monarch Pass and Wolf Creek Pass look really, really rough today. So just, again, if you've got plans heading out that way or know somebody heading out that way, just let them know. The weather nerd is saying that it is going to be really rough in those areas there. Again, Monarch and Wolf Creek look pretty dicey this afternoon. I wouldn't do it. I would tell my friends, don't go up over Wolf Creek or Monarch today. Meantime, tomorrow it should be a bit better. It will snow, but it won't be as intense and won't be as windy tomorrow either for us in some of those areas I mentioned. It'll still be dicey, so if you can avoid it, do so. But again, it doesn't look nearly as bad tomorrow as it does today. Meantime, for us here into the Denver area, I'll have more details on us here on the Front Range. I know you're seeing that snow and you're going, what's going on with that? I'll get into that here. All right, so for us here in Denver, what happens, we get a cold front that moves through probably late this afternoon, early this evening, somewhere around 4, 5, 6 o'clock is when the front moves its way on through. Say bye-bye to all the nice warm weather that we've got. And then what will end up happening is we'll go from temperatures in those 70s, and those temperatures will just crash tonight for us. And that'll also usher in some upslope flow. Some rain will move its way into the picture. And we'll see those showers eventually change over to snow overnight tonight and early tomorrow morning. We will see some snow, and I think especially along west of I-25, we could get a slushy couple of inches of snowfall, but it looks like the snow is mainly before dawn tomorrow, and then we'll see that snow gradually peter on out. Should say that for our friends in the foothills, especially into western Jeffco, western Boulder, and western Larimer counties, above 7,000 feet, it looks like it will snow the majority of the day tomorrow. But it will be fairly light snow throughout the day tomorrow. Most of the metro area, though, it will stay just kind of cloudy and cold for us on your Thursday. Hey, perfect weather to watch. I know a lot of you are going to be watching those NCAA basketball games day one tomorrow. Perfect weather to just kind of coop on the couch and pretend to work and watch those NCAA basketball games. Good weather for that, but not great weather for today, or not as nice weather as today. Not great weather for a run or anything like that, but that's neither here nor there. In terms of those snowfall impacts and totals, again, the mountains are going to get a pretty good helping of snow. Most of that is this afternoon and tonight. And then tomorrow we get a little leftover snow. Now here in the metro area, I want to emphasize the fact that yes, we're going to get some snow here. It looks like about an inch, maybe 2 here in town in Denver along and especially west of I-25. This is mostly going to stick to colder surfaces, car tops and grass and things like that, mainly due to 2 reasons. Main one being it's so warm today that will have an impact on the ground, that will warm up the ground. So the ground, any snow that falls initially, it's going to take a while for it to stick because of that. And when it does stick, it's going to stick on, again, some of those colder surfaces that are a bit more conducive to flipping over a bit quicker or getting colder quicker. Again, roads, things like that, they retain heat better. So roads should be mostly wet tomorrow. I think side streets, some sidewalks could be snow covered, but for the most part, I do expect things to mostly be confined to those colder surfaces, as I mentioned, from the storm system. Now you get into the foothills, 3, 4, 5 inches seems possible above 7,000 feet for most of us. Snow, but again, Confer, Bailey, Evergreen, the usual spots, we'll be looking at those higher totals, and that's where we also can see some of those road impacts. If you are heading up through I-70, 285 into the mountains, again, it will be rough up that way, Highway 14 in Larimer County as well. Tonight, 19 for us here in Denver, rain, snow mix. Starting as rain, I think it flips over pretty quick, somewhere around midnight, maybe a little after, so we'll flip over to snow, and temperatures after a high today in the 70s. Boy, we're going to rocket those temperatures on that. We're going to see a good 50-degree temperature swap in about 24 hours here across most of the Front Range. Tomorrow, we top out in the upper 30s, maybe some peaks of sunshine, but it's mostly a cloudy day and with some light snow, especially as you get west and south into the Palmer Divide and on up into the foothills, where we'll keep that snow around most of the day tomorrow. Highs, by the way, tomorrow about 20 degrees below our seasonal average, but as I mentioned, I guess the optimistic way to see it is as you pretend to work tomorrow, it will be great weather to watch the NCAA basketball games. Another look here, one more before I get to that 7-day forecast. And tomorrow, and kind of the timing of things, into the high country, we do get that snowfall for us into the higher terrain. Most of it will be tonight, but we do see some of that heavier snow along the south of I-70. And then also we'll see some snow showers continue through the day tomorrow before things finally do start to fizzle on out tomorrow night for us into the higher elevations. But we will see still some leftover snow across maybe the wet mountains as well as on south through the Sangre de Cristos and the San Juans into early Friday. Once we get past that, this is of course the 7-day forecast for Denver, where here in town, light snow mostly before dawn, maybe a few flakes as you get through the morning drive, then that gradually fizzles on out, a little bit of cloud cover, and then for your Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, stays just cold. Remember, average high this time of year in the mid to upper 50s, so when we're talking about highs in the low to mid 40s, that is way below average. And then we get some rain and snow for Monday and Tuesday. It looks like the majority of that system will stay in the southeastern Colorado before we warm back up and spike those temperatures back into the upper 50s for next Wednesday. So a lot going on. It's March in Colorado is one of our busier times of the year. It's certainly looking that way. It's certainly acting that way with warm temps near 70 today. Then tomorrow we will not get out of the 30s with a slushy 1 to 3 inches of snow for most of the metro area overnight tonight and to early tomorrow morning before things gradually fizzle on out. Foothills will keep some light snow around throughout most of the day tomorrow. That's where some spots could see as much as 6-7 inches worth of accumulation. Wouldn't be surprised to see an 8 or 9 inch hot spot up by Eldora or Allens Park. That'll do it for us here right now on 9 News Plus, but meteorologist Lauren Robinson getting ready right over there. She'll have an update for you coming up at 9 News at noon and also at 2 p.m. here on 9 News Plus. And then Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabins in at 4 and 5, and then meteorologist Danielle Grant in at 6, 9, and 10 tonight on the 9 News family of networks, tracking all of our wacky Colorado weather right here on 9 News. Thanks again for joining us here on 9 News Plus. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.